What's up, everybody? Welcome to What to Watch For, Hoopball's pregame fantasy basketball show. We're going to zip through the card tonight. The goal of these shows is to get it in and out in 15 minutes flat. We're just going to focus on things coming up on tonight's card. First things first, anybody joining us here at the front end of the show, please do click that like button and subscribe to our YouTube page. We're going to be trying to do these as often as humanly possible. So the more of you guys that hit those buttons, the more people it will reach out there in YouTube algorithm land. And that ultimately helps us in the long run. So, the cycle. We help you, you help us. We all pat each other's back, so on and so forth. I am Dan Baspers. That's my Twitter handle. This is the company we work for. It's also on my sweatshirt. Hoopball, hoop-ball.com, at Hoopball Fantasy is where you can follow them over on Twitter. Let's dive right on into the Tuesday night card, let you know what I'm watching for in each of the ball games coming up this evening and sort of what we might be doing from a fantasy perspective as they take place. Brooklyn is in Detroit. That's the first game on the docket. Starts in about an hour from now. The Nets are without Kevin Durant. Detroit sounds like they will have DeLon Wright, and then back from the injured list is Wayne Ellington, who I'm actually firing up. He had that starter's job as the shooting guard there. I know Josh Jackson's been playing better and might cut into his time a little bit, but they need the floor spacing that Ellington provided, and hopefully some of his cool down that we saw on their road trip was related to this calf injury that he's been dealing with. So that's something to keep an eye on the Detroit side, along with this sort of resurgent Mason Plumlee. But other than that, not a whole lot there, Josh Jackson being the other one on the Detroit side. On the Brooklyn side, no Kevin Durant, will play probably on the weekend, and it seems like the Nets are comfortable going Jeff Green at power forward, which unfortunately, it's a sort of a double-edged sword here. Jeff Green now is going to see, well, he was already playing close to 30 minutes a ball game, but now it's pretty much locked in for these games with no Kevin Durant, but he's playing farther from the hoop. Part of his appeal was the fact that he was playing 28 minutes at center or whatever it was. DeAndre was playing 16, 17, something like that. So Jeff Green was able to get more rebounds, fall into a steal or a blocked shot just from guys sort of bungling their way into the lane. That as a power forward, chasing around the likes of Blake Griffin here or Jeremy Grant, if he slides up to play the four, that's not as good. So you might actually see Jeff Green do less in his time on the floor because of his position on the floor, where DeAndre Jordan now will likely have a game or two where he plays bigger center minutes, and that's good for him because his minutes were trending down, and they will again. Noah Vonleh is in the mix. Sounds like his conditioning isn't there yet, so I don't think he'll be playing tonight, but that's another guy that could actually shave into that center stuff going on with the Brooklyn Nets. The Knicks and Heat in a rematch of a game 2 days ago. Miami is basically where they want to be. Goran Dragic, they're trying to sort of kid glove him a little bit, as we expected. After the deep bubble run and the meniscus injury, we knew he wasn't going to be full bore, but Butler's back and looks good. Duncan Robinson has been sort of weird this year, but that's not really a problem, and I maintain Kelly Olynyk is a field goal percent regression, positive regression, from being inside the top 100 on the season. I have Olynyk as a must-own guy. On the Knicks side, Derrick Rose is a game-time call as of just a minute or two ago. We thought he was going to have to sit it out. Tom Thibodeau, actually, as we're speaking right now, this is what I'm looking at on Twitter, said Derrick Rose will likely come off the bench initially, but he's perfectly comfortable playing him if he's ready to go. I think he's going to be a nice fit there. I think he's going to end up playing a bunch because Tibbs loves his guy, D. Rose. They traded for him. They went out and got him. That said, while he is an ad for me on the fantasy side, I don't think I'm starting him tonight. It's too fast. He doesn't know their offense. I don't think they're going to just trot him out there for 25 minutes in his first game. Maybe I'm nuts and maybe they do, but it doesn't seem like something that's going to happen on night one. I think it'll take, I don't know, a game or two, a week, maybe less. But still, that's kind of a fun little side project there. Sounds like Nerlens Noel, by the way, is good to go for New York, so that's a good sign. His health status has been all over the map the last 2 days. He was out, he was questionable, he was out again. Now he's probable. I guess he's playing. That's actually really helpful for New York. He was playing well. He anchors their defense in the second unit. He's been ramping up towards 20, 21 minutes a ball game. He's a must-add guy in fantasy when he's healthy, and he is playing. So there you go. Trot him out there. Houston is in New Orleans on the betting side. I guess I can mention the betting stuff on this thing. New Orleans favored by 6.5 with a total of 226. Pelicans on a revenge game. Houston beat the snot out of them a couple weeks ago. Rockets are without Victor Oladipo for this game. They get John Wall and Eric Gordon back, so they back-to-back mix and match stuff for Houston. They've slowed a little bit with no Christian Wood. Their defense is not good with Boogie at center. He can't cover anyone. He definitely lost a step. Fantasy-wise, he's awesome right now because he'll get center minutes. But defensively, it's not good for them. Fortunately for Houston, New Orleans tends to play a little bit bigger, which I think is actually a good thing for Cousins since he's going to be covering Steven Adams for at least 20-some-odd minutes a ball game. From a fantasy standpoint, I'm watching Daniel House on the Houston side. I know these are not great games to pull data from because they're missing Depot and then last night Gordon and Wall, so you don't really get the full picture painted. But still, he and Jayshawn Tate, if any one of those guys can kind of jockey for the lead position, I know Tate's starting, but his fantasy game is a little bit goofball with percentages, free throw percent, things of that nature. Doesn't hit a ton of three-pointers. House does hit threes. Percentages are better. Doesn't get as many defensive stats. So maybe one of those guys can move ahead of the others. It's not entirely clear. That's something to keep an eye on. I don't think anything is going to change tonight, but it's something to sort of slow monitor as we move our way through the next couple of weeks. Really nothing on the New Orleans side. They're basically healthy. Lonzo's been playing a lot better lately. The rest of the guys are kind of set into their roles. Steven Adams is not really in the mix. Eric Bledsoe had one good game in there, but overall he's been kind of bad this year. And lately it's basically been Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo as useful fantasy players on that Pelican side in 12-team 9-category formats. The Warriors and Spurs, Derek White sitting out the back-to-back on the San Antonio side. Draymond Green is questionable as of the time of this live show. We may get more information here shortly because they do start at 5:30 Pacific time, so that's only a shade over 2 hours from now. Not a ton of fantasy stories other than the health of LaMarcus Aldridge. As long as he's out, you're rolling Pirtle Power. Love me some Ninja Turtle jokes. I'd like to just spell his name P-U-R-T-L-E Power and do the rap from the ending credits of the original Ninja Turtles movie. Wasn't Vanilla Ice involved in that in some way? No, maybe that's wrong. On the Warriors side, there's basically nothing. Juan Toscano-Anderson is an interesting fill-in right now while they're down a bunch of centers. And if Draymond is out, then I really don't know what the hell they're going to do with their front court. Spurs, again, it's really just about Keldon Johnson kind of hitting a little bit of a rookie wall, but you're hanging on there. You might even be able to buy low if this lasts more than a couple of ball games. Orlando is in Portland. By the way, that Warriors-Spurs game is a rematch. Portland back home off a long road trip. Sounds like they have most of their expected healthy guys available for this ball game. Dame is probable. The main guys, CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic, those guys are both out for a little bit longer, so nothing to monitor there. Portland's had some trouble defending people. Orlando's had some trouble scoring ever at all. They are without Evan Fournier for this ball game. We know Aaron Gordon is out. Markelle Fultz out for the year. There's not a whole lot left for the Magic. It's Vooch versus the world. They're going to need a lot out of Terrence Ross. They're going to need at least something out of Cole Anthony in this ball game. And then they're going to need something out of the peripheral guys, the Dwayne Bacons of the world. And whether or not they get it is kind of anybody's guess. I'm not willing to stream those guys. I don't think they're good enough. Cole Anthony probably gets roasted in this ball game if I had to guess. But there are so few offensive options on that team. You almost have to run him out there because it can't be. I mean, Vooch can't score 105 points by himself, I don't think. Maybe he will. Portland side, Gary Trent, good streamer. Rob Covington's been a top 30 guy the last week and a half, so he's coming on. And then Enes Kanter's been rolling also. Philly in Sacramento, 5-point road favorites in this ballgame. Sixers just trucking along. I think you've got a buy low window here on Seth Curry if you want it. And it's a difficult subject to dive hard into. By the way, Pravin, thank you. I'm seeing you in the chat room. Vanilla Ice was on the TMNT soundtrack, so I'm not completely out of my mind. Baby-faced though he may be, Dan Vespers is in his late 30s now, and I remember when Splinter made another funny. I guess he just made a funny in the first one. He made another funny in the second one. What the heck were we talking about before I got distracted by Vanilla Ice in the chat room? Oh, right. Seth Curry. So this is a tough one because I don't want to sound callous when I talk about a basketball player. And Seth Curry is they're pretty forthright about it, dealing with the after effects of symptomatic COVID. And he wasn't in any mortal danger. And this is something I think that actually gets a little bit mishmashed in the media at large. This is an illness that has lingering effects. Some of them are minor that last a long time. Others are a bigger deal. And for a strong young basketball player like Seth Curry, what you're seeing is that he just doesn't have his wind. And I think you might be seeing a little bit of, even with Michael Porter Jr., if you're going to look at Denver, some of these guys that had COVID and had symptoms are kind of sucking wind right now. And he's slowly getting there. Still shooting 50% overall on the year, which, sort of belies how cold he's been lately. Dude was shooting close to 60% before he went down with the illness. But if you break his season down into two very distinct pre and post chunks, it's a pretty stark comparison. I mean, he was scoring 15, 17 points a game before the illness, which knocked him out on January the 6th was his last game. They beat Washington. He had 28 points on 14 shots there. Just look at his three-pointers. 1, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 6. Since coming back, 3, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 0, 2. Minutes are down. Shooting is down. Attempts are down. Everything's down. He's just not the same. But if you believe that over the next month, say, he gets his stroke back, he gets his wind back, you might be able to get him for someone priced near where he's at right now. Currently, Seth Curry is number 88 on a per-game basis in 9 category leagues. There are some guys floating around that 88 mark that are likely to come back down, like a Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, as Memphis gets healthy. Montrezl Harrell, there's no way he's going any higher than about 92 where he's at right now. Look at guys that are sort of near their ceiling. Thad Young, who's been insane, but the Bulls are down both 3 front court players. Bobby Portis, that won't get it done. Who are you kidding? That's not going to get it done. Who's close by to Curry if he's trending down? Norman Powell, who's streaming like a madman while the Raptors have people out. Not sure I see any other obvious ones right around him on the list. Maybe someone wants Tim Hardaway Jr. He's been better than Seth over the last week or two. So float something out there. Someone who's like right behind him or right next to him, but is kind of capped out, where we know that if Curry gets going again, he can leap past 90 where he's at right now. He can go 75. There's some value to be had there. Enough about Seth Curry. Sacramento side, they're pretty well locked in at the moment. Rashawn Holmes playing huge minutes. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield are playing big minutes. Harrison Barnes has actually been really good this year, to the surprise of every fantasy basketball analyst on planet Earth. He's fixed his percentages. He's rebounding well. I don't know, 2 3-pointers. I mean, this came way out of left field, but he's playing well. Hassan Whiteside, no. Marvin Bagley, no. Tyrese Halliburton, oh yes. Oh yes, he's been very good. But there's really nothing to watch necessarily in that ball game. The only thing you'd see is if Seth Curry has a really good game and eliminates your buy low window. I'm going to pause here before we finish up the show. I want to make sure that I get to float in one more retweet on the actual show that's going right now. And I also want to remind you guys that have joined to watch the show partway through to please do, again, click the like button. It's going to be probably in this neck of the woods where I'm pointing. That's really important for us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow. I'll use 2 fingers. I'm not very good at this game. It's reversed on my screen. That is me on Twitter, at Dan Bespris. That's how you spell my weirdo last name. That's the site, Hoopball, at Hoopball Fantasy on Twitter. So please, please, please do click those buttons. Those are really helpful for us. What do the kids say? Smash it? Yeah, smash that button. Take a moment. Smash that button. Let's wrap things up. We got just one more game on the docket. Boston is at Utah. The Celtics are expecting to get Jaylen Brown back for this ball game. I don't think we have final confirmation on that yet. Utah is without Mike Conley. They've listed him as indefinitely, but I'm guessing it's probably a week or 2. hamstring tightness. Hopefully it's nothing serious. It doesn't sound like it's a true strain. So that means Joe Ingles is in for streaming purposes. It does hurt Utah's depth. Boston, there's not a whole lot to watch for with the Celtics right now. With Marcus Smart out, it's really cleared out a runway for a guy like a Daniel Tice to get consistent minutes as they've gone bigger. They've slid everybody down to cover up Smart's absence at the point guard or shooting guard spot. Tatum, Brown, they slide down a spot. Tice jumps in with either a Grant Williams or a Tristan Thompson. And Daniel seems like he's going to get at least, mid to high 20s in minutes these games. And I would venture to guess he probably will again here, although you might see more Tristan Thompson just to deal with Gobert on the glass. There's a possibility they go a little bit bigger. Robert Williams has been kind of the question mark on the Boston side. Can he see enough playing time? I think, changing my view on this. I was anti-Williams to start the year. I became pro-Williams when it looked like he was going to get a consistent 15 minutes. But it's all over the map right now. And in a games cap format, if you catch him on one of those 8-minute games, you're ruined. Unlimited games format, you're in better shape because he might play, you get him on a 4-game week, he might get you 8 steals and 8 blocks, or, 4 steals, 10 blocks, and shoot like 14 for 16 on the week. That's actually really useful. Grab you, 22 rebounds, something in that neck of the woods in a 4-game week, 24 rebounds. Like, that's all useful. But what if you're in a games cap one, you drop him in and he goes for 2 points, 2 boards, and 1 block? I mean, kicking yourself. So I think I'm out on Williams in Roto games cap. I think you can deploy him in head-to-head when he has those big, chunky weeks, which I guess you roll that all together into one piece of analysis, it probably makes him something of a streamer type. I see a number of you have actually jumped on here over the last minute or two. So just quickly, for those that have missed things, the very fast recap on all of the things going on tonight. Instead of breaking it down game by game, here's the quickie version. Brooklyn, front court. Detroit, Wayne Ellington, Josh Jackson. New York, Nerlens Noel back. Is Derrick Rose playing? What does that do to Emmanuel Quickley, Alfred Payton, Alec Burks, all of those guys that have been fighting for minutes anyway. Miami, nothing really. Just Kelly Olynyk, perhaps. Houston, Daniel House is what we're watching. Warriors, nothing really. Streamers. Spurs, same thing, kind of streamers. Orlando, can anybody step up here with guys out, namely Terrence Ross? Can he get back onto the good side of the ledger? Portland, nothing. Philly, Seth Curry buy low. Sacramento, nothing. Boston, Tyson, the big men. Utah, Joe Ingles on the stream. And that is what to watch for. Did we get it? How'd we do? 17 minutes. I didn't make the 15. Son of a gun. Next time I'll do it in 15. Tomorrow, Alan Soroki is on What to Watch For. That'll be just after 3 o'clock Pacific time. Again, nice big old Wednesday card. Good luck keeping it to 15 minutes, Alan. I don't think you're going to make it. I am Dan Besbris. This is Hoopball's What to Watch For, your fantasy pregame show. Know what you're looking for as you go into the action tonight. Pick up Derrick Rose. That's my last thing. Pick him up, even if you don't start him tonight. He's going to be useful soon. He only needs 24 minutes to be a top 100 guy. We've seen him do it before. Probably won't play in back-to-backs if I had to guess, but Thibodeau is going to play him. He's his guy. Hit that like button, subscribe. Last reminder, have a great day, everybody. Good luck with your cards tonight. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow here on What to Watch For.